Billionaires begging for Bitcoin to come back, baby. We have Algorand resurfacing some icky connections. We're going to get some inside scoop from one of the top people in the influential sphere for algo. And we have absolute chaos breaking out in Africa and across the world. We're going to take a touch on everything here. Let's get it. Blockchain basement.
Bum, 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 bum. You ready for this? I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What do you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now.
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there. But if we do, that's kind of where we.
Welcome one, welcome all. Hello and good morning. We have a fantastic crew today. We are joined with AJ. Long time. We had him on recently. It's glad to have him on again. Love ripping with him. We got BJ from the Cardano Know-It-All Association.
The anti-Ethereum club, apparently.
We have Frankie Candles, Calf Man of the Universe, and Owen. Show your face.
Yeah, where's
to
the
crowd.
lower third? I took the time to build.
Yeah, come on now.
My
where is
partner-
that?
He chose not to trigger it.
Unbelievable.
Even though there's a button for it.
Unbelievable.
There's no lower third?
I think I'm going to grow out my mullet again. I think I need a mullet. I came out here with a mullet. I need a mullet. So thank you for joining us
rock a
all.
mullet, dude.
Thumbnail Investor,
Yeah.
Ryan Anderson, Manawak, Flat and Smack, Donato Cabrera,
But I don't know if you redid the
Chili
names.
Rainbow.
Oh, you did. You're so good.
He did?
No. Well,
No, he did it wrong.
There's two Drews.
Yeah, he did it wrong.
Two Drews and a TJ.
Double juice.
I thought BJ said he did it.
No.
Oh.
No. Very it's understandable. We move fast, you know. I think you're getting better at this. Yeah, I think you're getting the swing of it. Eventually, he's going to be talking shit back.
So he's a swinger now.
Well, yeah. Do you like pineapple on your pizza?
Hell yeah.
He does.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
The news is in. Well, and shout out Manawak. I'm using your coasters, custom coasters you made us for an actual
Also,
cup of
real
coffee.
fast, tell Manawak, I'm offended Manawak only goes golfing with Taco.
Dude,
He
Manawak
only
is a
goes
great
golfing with Taco.
human.
You know, Manawak, I'd go golfing with you,
He's a
but
great human.
I checked my
Let's
DMs.
go golfing.
Haven't seen anything, you know. It's cool.
are
I
you-
golf with
Let's
Taco.
go golfing.
Let's
You're
go
a good golfer?
golfing.
Yes, dude.
So are you like a bogey average? Or are you par average?
Well,
How good are you
I
at
played a lot of golf when I lived on Orcas Island. It's a 9-round course,
Mhm.
and I have like completed the course par. And at some point in time, I've birdied every hole. But that's when I golf with my buddy Burley like every day. And Burley is he's 18 at this point. He's going to be PGA. He's a prodigy.
Mm.
So I learned how to golf from one of the best in the game. And Taco is a liar.
Taco
he
said
said
you
I
sucked.
sucked. He's messing with me.
The news, the breaking news.
But no, I'm
exposed.
I'm actually I enjoy golf a lot, and I'm looking forward to getting back into it.
Man, you got a lot of insiders coming out against your golf game right now.
That's totally fine.
I don't know what to say here, but if I can really get a hold of it, man, that thing will go, and it feels amazing. But I am not consistent at all with golf. I used to be when I was a kid. Lived closer to a golf course. I would sneak on. Is the old adage would say. So bad kid. I was not a good kid. Learned to be good later on in life. It comes with experience. You gotta go through some things. You gotta make some life lessons before you can decide to truly be a good person. I feel like, not a whole lot is happening in the cataclysmic awesome news for Bitcoin. We are seeing some kind of regurgitated narratives, connections to Algorand and Hillary Clinton. Obviously, Everyone that watches the show from the beginning has known we broke that story long ago. And I did my best to make a big deal out of it, but really it's just, we're going to take a look at that later. But it feels really boring in Bitcoin, which is good for me in my position for my overall thesis, my plan. I am still holding majority of what crypto I do have in Bitcoin. So my basic plan, has been, I was in meme coin season and kind of the altcoin push when H bar went up to 9 cents, took profits there. And then I took profits on a ICP, a few others, just in this accumulation, the front end of the accumulation range that we are in right now, and just the overall Bitcoin cycle. So now that I had talked to Evan Aldo, if you watched a few weeks ago, we had him on. He kind of agreed with the thesis that we're going to be, potentially looking at around 25. I'm personally, I was always looking at the 28K dip god to be satisfied for Bitcoin to kind of find that shelf. It is riding right at about 29.5. I am pleased to have Mr. Frankie Candles joining us because I want to kind of break down where we are right now. Try to get, I want to get you to compare, like, is this plan reasonable? Because what the end goal here is once we breach 32K, I look to move back into altcoin, right? So I'll hand you this computer here. I'll go into your trading view. You can show me what we're looking at.
For sure. Yeah. So this is basically what I've been looking at on Ben's show recently, and on my channel as well, is basically this macro volume profile. Let me come off the 4-day real quick. There we go, coming right down to support there. But looking at this macro volume profile, we were waiting for a move down to the 2 key levels I was watching. Now, we've been looking at this level. As you guys know, if you watch my show, we were stuck in this sideways range forever. We were waiting for a breakdown based off of money flow on Market Cypher. Felt crazy calling for it the entire time. Everybody was looking at this as a bull flag, bull pennant, breakout to the upside. XRP news comes out. Bitcoin gets a slight breakout of the local range here, but winds up hitting macro support, which is where we were looking to go short. Caught that short, came down to the POC, lost the POC, came right down here to our key level, which was this first blue box of support coming in between 28.8. Shout out to the 28K dip gods. But yeah, we got to move down to 28.8 and then another dip down to the bottom of that blue box at around 28.650. And, I've talked about this a lot on my show, so this might seem familiar to a lot of people, but one thing we were looking at here was, again, all the way when we were up here, hoping for a move down to this blue box. And once you get down to these levels of support, what you want to look for is some kind of a sign of a reversal. And we got a very, very, very obvious sign of reversal here. And it was a daily bullish divergence at that key level of support. And I do want to say, like, I know it seems really easy to be like, okay, you just wait for it to come down to your level. You find the bullish divergence. In real time, when you're watching this price action, it is much easier to it's not as easy as it's much scarier when you're seeing this bull div form. You're like, okay, but is it going to play out? Like, we're right at support. Are we going to break down? So I just want to be very clear. We were looking at this for sure in real time, but it's not as easy. Like, when you go back and explain these things, it seems a lot easier than it actually is. But simply put, we waited. Once we rejected that value area high, we expected to come down to the POC. Once you lose the POC, you look to come to the low. And then that's where we were sitting on our hands. That's the trap that we set, right? With my premium Discord, even on my live stream on YouTube, we were saying that was our trap, setting that trap, waiting for the bullish confirmations at that level. And then one of those big signs of reversal was this daily bullish divergence. And then where were we looking to get that move till, or have that move come up to? Well, we were looking for that to come right up to our POC, which was at about 30,200. And boom, we just wake right up to that level. And now we are starting to find some resistance. I am in 2 short positions. I am in a Bitcoin short from, I don't know the exact entry. This is not my computer, so I don't have my Femex open up here. But I'm short from somewhere up here. This is the level we've been looking at. And I am also short on Maker. That is that short, absolutely. I mean, I can pull it up real quick. I know it's kind of off topic.
While
for
you
Bitcoin.
do that, shout out to G Ferris on the OG status, and maybe a Band-Aid out here gifting memberships, making it
drop
rain.
and load.
Maybe Band-Aid's been crushing he's been gifting a lot of stuff for our channel
What
as well.
a great support
Out there.
That was awesome.
Killing it.
That was awesome.
But yeah, my short entry for this trade was up here. 1329. So that was my entry right here. I just happened to remember that off the top of my head. Yeah, this is Maker. So we were short here at 1329.
I shorted Maker too. Really?
Did you really?
Yes.
Huge.
That's so funny.
Let's go.
Wow.
You guys
yeah.
are like match made in heaven.
Wow. We're friends. We used to talk about trades when we had the same office.
Yeah, right.
And then you just went to, I don't even know where you are anymore. I miss you, Frank.
I know it is crazy. This building is so big. It's
Yeah.
like I go up to the editors, or I go back to where the researchers and the writers are, and I'm like, oh my god, like I don't even like they don't always walk past each other. And I'm like, oh my god, I gotta come back here and hang out with people more.
Yeah.
But this is we were looking got filled on my limit. I don't usually trade with limit orders, to be honest. I'm a degenerate, but I got filled right on this wick here, and this is playing out good. I do think that we could have some more downside here based off of money flow. But again, this is Bitcoin TA, so I just wanted to point that out. It's just a short that I'm in on top of the Bitcoin short. But kind of what I'm expecting here, guys, in the short term here, is going to be a potential move down. On Ben's show this morning, I was talking about a potential continued move down just based off of the 1 hour bearish divergence that was forming at our key level of resistance. You can see that right there. I don't want to waste too much time actually drawing the lines. But on that show, we were talking about, hey, if we can't reclaim this value area low, we're likely going to break down and potentially find support on the previous value area high, which we are starting to hit right now, and it does look like we may be losing this, but if we can't, just like if we couldn't reclaim this level, we were going to move down. If we cannot hold support on this value area high, I would look to get accepted back into this range and potentially move down towards the point of control, coming in at $29,250. And then at that point, if you get accepted back into this range, I would just look for price to respect these levels. I will be looking for another long position on Bitcoin. If we do get back down to this local range, I will be looking for a potential higher low to come in here. I'll just pull this fib roughly.
Pull your fib.
Boom. Yeah. I mean, this is perfect. This confluence is perfect. I'll be looking for a bounce at the golden pocket POC confluence, and then you have perfect confluence with your 786 and your value area low here. So once we get down to these levels, if we do get accepted into the range, I will be looking for some scalp longs off of these two levels. So
Gotcha.
There you
go.
go.
Well, and so that's super kind of short term. I just want to look at how these things. Well, do you think that we're going to hit 25K?
Yeah.
Do you think that we're going to hit 25? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Let me do that. That is super short term. But if we zoom out here, let me pull up the Bybit chart real quick. If we zoom out, this is pretty simple. Like, this is what I'm looking at in the long term. And again, like looking at all those levels we were watching, like that's all in this tiny little area, which this pump was not as exciting as people, make it out to be. As you range around, you get this little move up and everyone's like, oh my God, this is so exciting. But in hindsight, or not in hindsight, but when you zoom out, it's actually not really that exciting. But if we go ahead and grab a range here, I am looking at this as a massive sideways range as well. And this, Drew, brings up exactly what you were talking about, a potential move back down to 28K, even down to this point of control, right? Because what is happening here is, if we can't get back above this value area high, you have to assume that you're going to get accepted back into this macro range, which could give you a move down to this POC at about 28K. If you start losing this level, you would expect to potentially come back down to the value area low of this range, which coincidentally gets you closer to that 25K level that you're talking about.
That's
Drew.
the hot stuff.
Yeah,
and that's the hot stuff. That's the stuff that makes you a lot of money. In the accumulation market, if you're patient, if you're a sniper for these things, these types of moves, if you're trying to just not beat the markets day to day, I know Frankie and AJ, they're trading day to day, but people like me, I buy and hold. That's the move that ends up making me the money over the long term, and good money. You just have to be patient for it. So
yeah, I will say also, if you do get that move down, everybody is going to be calling for 10K.
Yeah,
and if we get down to this level, I will remain bullish in the long term, because although I may be looking for a move down here, I am still bullish in the long term, as when I say long term, I mean this weekly uptrend. I think this weekly uptrend may still continue to the upside. And if we do come all the way down to that 26K-ish level, to the bottom of that value area low, we could still potentially put in a higher low on the higher time frames and then continue up to higher prices. AJ, what were we going to say?
Yeah, so I was just talking, if you go to like the 2 or 3 day chart, you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. This is something I brought up last time I was on the basement, but I wanted to ask your opinion, Frank. So basically, if you basically look at the entire uptrend from the beginning of 2023, we've been in, you kind of draw that line. We've been at that uptrend the whole time. At the same time, the 31 and change is an important support resistance level from, 21, 22. We got rejected from it. We got over it for a second, rejected back down. Anyway, the point of intersection of the overall uptrend and that 31 support resistance level is roughly September 15th to the 17th. Do you think we break above 31 and respect the year-long trend line, or are we breaking the year-long trend line?
Yeah, so that's kind of the I actually love that you brought that up, because people have asked me to look at this trend line before, and this was a big reason why.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Can you zoom out a tiny bit? Zoom out a little bit more. Did either of you draw that trend line from the beginning of 2023 to March, and then assume the rest? Because sometimes it's like, obviously looking in retrospect, like you can see a massive trend line.
Yeah.
But did you guys base it off of that first pullback?
Yeah, so that's basically like from the low
like,
to
have
this
you kind
first...
of seen this coming for a while?
So I've noticed a trend line the second we bounced back in March. That was the line I've been looking at the whole time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Once
That's
you got
awesome
this
to
low
see.
and then that higher low, you can, and then a lot of people will probably watch this trend line.
And when we
literally
came
hitting.
down right there in June, and when Bitcoin bounced, I was long in altcoins. That was my signal for alts right there.
Yeah.
That bounce.
I'm happy you brought this up, because this is a big reason why I was and still am looking at that 28K almost even level, this point of control, because you have a lot of confluence here. You have the trend line intersecting there, you have the POC, and on top of that, you actually have this golden pocket of the entire move up from $24,500 that comes very, very, very close. I do pull this from not the absolute low. I pull it from this higher low. And you do get beautiful confluence with that POC. Lot of confluence here. So if we do come back down, I will be looking for longs at this level. But if we do break these highs, to answer your question, AJ, if we break these highs, I would look for this trend line to potentially get respected.
I mean, by that trend line, 28K would be very reasonable to come down to in the short term and be right back up to on our way to business.
It seems a little low. It almost looks like 28.3.
It is not 28K exactly even. It's like 28.30. This golden pocket is at about 28.4 ish. So it's all just kind of a range. Like, that's why if I pull up this chart, which are with our actual level, first key levels where we're bouncing at right now, if we come back down, break these lows, that's exactly what this blue box is. So I always look at things in terms of zones, not necessarily lines. It just helps you not get faked out if you break below or above a resistance or support line.
Excellent.
And how often, you were talking about earlier on the morning show that you did get wicked out. How often do you get wicked out when you go outside of that zone? Like, you go, you have a little bit more cojones and you come down maybe $500 outside of that zone. Do you have a less likelihood of getting wicked out when you do that versus you can see all these open contracts in that zone? And it's like, I feel like if you set your stop loss in there, like, you're gonna get wicked out.
Yeah, 100%. And absolutely. Like, that's why I look at support and resistance as zones, because if you have it as a straight line, what a lot of people will do is they'll set their stop loss right below support or right above resistance for a short. And the problem with that is the market makers know this, right? And those stop losses create liquidity, or are liquidity, and they will go just stop out all those moves. That's what happens when you get wicked out and then price just goes the way you want it to. They just go stop out all those positions, and then it just reverses right back down to where you thought it was. So what I do, just classic stop hunt.
Classic.
But I will set, just like you said, BJ, I will set a little bit of like a wonky stop loss. I try to figure out where most people would have their stop losses, and I'll actually go into like a weird area. I'll go a little bit below them. But it's kind of hard to avoid. I mean, it's just part of the game. I got wicked out on stream the other day, or actually a couple weeks ago now, but like, it's just frustrating. But it just happens, part of the game.
That's why I like holding for long term, man. I mean, I'll play and do some leverage trading, but I know to only kind of go into it when it's feeling long and I'm feeling just confirmed bullish. Tried my game in the short leverage trading and absolutely cannot do it when the downtrend is going on. I stay away from it.
Drew hates shorting.
I hate shorting. I love longing. You know,
I'm the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I'm bullish on crypto, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. Short money, I don't know. I always say because you have gravity on your side.
Some of my best trades have been shorts.
Yeah, short money just comes in so quick. You get
Yep.
those like, you know, people panic sell. I mean, you get the same thing with FOMO on the way up. But I will say, I see Darren Does Things said, long the deviation, better risk to reward. That's the Frankie. That's I think it said that's the Frankie way. I just lost it. But to your point, BJ, that is what I will do is like when we look at support, what a lot of people will do as soon as you break that level of support is they'll just go short. What I do is I wait for that level of support to get broken, and that's once you break that level and everyone's panicking, that's where I look for the longs, and that's where you catch those fire risk to rewards.
Yeah, don't get left behind. We had this actually kind of goes nice segue into.
Here's a nice segue. Solar miner in Spain. Should we go? Buenos dias.
Oh my God. Well, there's a lot of billionaires that are sad about missing Bitcoin at $100. So, you know, don't miss the train just in general. Like these guys, I'm going to play this video. It came out from Wolf of Wall Streets. Let's see if I'm muted or not.
Speaking of a long, look at that nose.
I know it's huge. Do this.
Perfectly timed, because Novogratz has been the piñata of Bitcoin when it goes down. It's been the genius of Bitcoin when it goes up. And all of a sudden, Larry showed up at the door to say, hey, big, respectable firms can prosecute and do Bitcoin. Link Lawrence Fink of BlackRock to Mike Novogratz.
Well, what's happened is people, as you suggest, make fun of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, but now the establishment, Larry Fink at BlackRock, is now saying they're going to have an ETF, if approved by the government, in Bitcoin. So you're saying, wait a second, if the mighty BlackRock is willing to have an ETF in Bitcoin, maybe Bitcoin's going to be around for a while.
Lisa wants to jump in here, but I'm going to cut to the news moment. Is Carlyle announcing this morning a Bitcoin advocacy?
No, I don't think so. But there's no doubt that Bitcoin is something that I wish I had bought it at $100 a Bitcoin when Mike Novogratz started buying it. It's now at $29,000. So he's made a lot of money. And a lot of people who bought it at the $100 or less are feeling pretty good. Now, it went up as high as 61,000, I think, even down to 31,000 or even 29,000 now. It's still a pretty good profit if you bought it at 100.
We all wish we would have bought it at 100 and to ride it up. It's one thing for BlackRock to come up with an ETF because they believe in the proposition of Bitcoin. It's another because they see a profitability proposition where they can, you know, basically take advantage of the interests that other people have. I mean, isn't that more of what this is? That basically Wall Street is saying, if there is a market for it and we can viably make one for them and make some money, why not?
Well, remember, Wall Street is in business to make money, and this is something they can probably make money of. You have to.
There it is.
He said it.
Yeah.
Hamburger.
Stuff like this tickles me. It just tickles me.
Does it spark joy?
You know, and yeah, it does. It sparks very much joy inside of my my dark hole inside of here. But it's interesting to see them kind of you know, publicly they're tapping out, but I think that they've always known that this technology is there. They've always been in the background.
They're also trying to get some exit liquidity before the end of the year.
Exit liquidity? You think they're going to dump it to make a cheap entry points?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what our thesis was.
Your tax write-off, your unrealized losses, you get people pre-hyped, halving, and plus if you look at all the bull runs, it's not just 2025 that it's going to happen. You're going to have your pre-cum run, and then the massive,
and then the full
your pre-cum run.
It is a thing.
It is. It's a thing.
It's a thing. It lubricates the market.
That's
a thing.
It helps things.
2024 will be
funny.
prom night for everyone.
Prom night.
It's going to be a little awkward. You're going to get a little bit, and then we're going to go.
Well, don't be people that miss out, you know, and this is important. That's why you got to stay educated when things are in accumulation market or boring or, you know, potentially even going wrong. Because this is a great tweet from the Bitcoin therapist. You get Bitcoin at the price you deserve, right? And he's got BlackRock CEO calls Bitcoin an index of money laundering. This is him obviously publicly. While in the background, you know, BlackRock is investing in all kinds of other things that are involved with crypto technology. He said this October 13th of 2017, Bitcoin was at $5,600 a piece.
So he told us he was bullish back then.
Basically.
BlackRock and money laundering, they go hand in hand, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, let's bring up Blackwater and the 23-year unreasonable, unnecessary war that you held and propped up across the ocean there.
Hey, Raytheon made me a lot of money.
Yeah. You know, Leidos has got to pay the bill somehow. So BlackRock CEO Larry Fink considers Bitcoin as digital gold. Now this year, July 2023, 31,000K. So that's just a little highlight. And I had another tweet from Frankie, I believe. Let's see here. Let me find Frankie. You had something was like, how many family members have you been able to kind of get in on Bitcoin, and I really like that tweet because there's a big reality to that. Us here in the space, we're learning about it. We're seeing all these other metrics going on with our traditional money supply and how, our loved ones can't purchase as many groceries at the grocery store. We hear about the problems, within our family system. If you have family systems, you hear about the issues that are out there in the real world right now. And so as you learn about, the potential and the profitability of Bitcoin, the actual use case that it has, a lot of people don't understand, like, that you can even spend it, right? Then I show them a vehicle, all these guns, look at all this stuff. This is, it's not funny money, it's hilarious money. And so, Frankie, have you been able to get any of your like-minded or your family in on this stuff, or like, have you let them know what's going on?
Yeah, so actually, I have a interesting story. I've actually, so my dad, back in 2016, I was like, that was when the crypto bug bit me. I was going crazy. And I get home, I go to my dad's house one day, and I'm telling him, my dad day trades. My dad's a day trader, but he trades stocks. He didn't trade crypto, at least at the time. But I get home and I'm telling my dad about this stuff. I'm like, I don't know if you know about crypto. Like, you got to check this out. Like, the market's open 24/7. It's like, it's crazy. He pulls up his account and he goes, oh yeah, Coinbase. Yeah. I bought a little bit of that Ethereum stuff. And I was like, no way. And so my dad actually bought Ethereum before I didn't even have to talk him into it. But I was able to talk his girlfriend into it, and I think my dad actually persuaded my uncle. So I do have some of my family in, but I actually can't even really take credit for it. I thought I was going to have to sit there and convince my dad, like, listen, you trade stocks. Like, this is open 24/7. Like, take a whack at it. The gains are insane. Yeah. It's very volatile, which obviously you need. He was like, yeah, he's like, I already just bought some Ethereum. He doesn't day trade crypto now. He still just day trades stocks. But he invests in crypto. He has a lot. I'm proud. Like, my dad's got a lot of crypto.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
nice.
Super pumped.
How about AJ? Have you been able to kind of get the message out there?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, my dad's like, he's pretty loaded, and for some reason he is just so scared to buy crypto. He's such a little baby, and I'm gonna play him this clip, and he's gonna be like, oh, I can hear him already, right? But my mom is the one, like, straight aping in. Like, she is not scared. She's like, I'm getting H bar. Like Mama Karen is fearless, and hold on, she is the first Karen. And yes, she wants to speak to the manager.
Oh my God.
She really does. Like, but she loves her Coinbase.
You hear subconsciously what Karen's not buying? Algo.
Oh, she has a bag.
Oh no! You bring it up after I bring it up. That you brought it up.
She has a bunch of coins. She has a bunch of coins. She really likes quant because I explained the tokenomics.
This is like Inception.
She has a big bag of quant.
We're gonna get to algo.
I know.
That's a whole nother section.
Oh man.
BJ, what about you?
No.
No
one's listened. My sister's, I guess you would call husband. They have children. They've been together forever. I guess did like the Whole Foods deal and a bunch of other stuff with Amazon. Will not touch crypto, but told me, boasted that he doubled up on Peloton back in 2020 when I was trying to tell him to buy a bunch of crypto, and he wouldn't. My mom says she can't afford whole Bitcoins, so she doesn't buy them, which I've tried to explain that too. And most people close to me don't like it at all. I have one friend, I'm going to give a shout out to Vincent, who's an absolute anarchist, and I love him, who's gone pure degen with me and Cardano. He was the one that actually told me about SNEC and all this other stuff.
SNEC.
So he's pretty big on that. But again, most people I hang out with outside this office do not like crypto. The gaming community despises it. So no, I'm all alone.
Okay.
All the Magic players just don't want crypto.
It's so funny.
I definitely have been able to get it into the ears of, like, my parents. But, my extended family, like my aunts and uncles and stuff like that, they didn't really listen to me until it was too late. And then I refused to tell them where to go because it was at the top of the market. So I just shut down. I was like, I don't know. It's probably, a scam, like you said. Wait until it comes back down. And they missed out. There's a lot of, problems with seeing what's going on to the average person. And then we're going to take a look at some
Solar miner, you are.
Some new stuff. What's that, Solar Miner?
Said they thought they were my friend. You are.
He is your friend.
And I hope that Tom Jones show was amazing.
You guys didn't hang out in Barcelona, did you?
He had to take the missus to a Tom Jones show. Plus, I ended up getting very...
You were saying
not
weird
BJ.
pictures.
Yeah, no, not you.
A lot of weird things
You would
happened.
never.
DJ Frodo. There were
You saw Frodo
would never.
DJ. That's incredible.
very random.
That's
I'm
incredible.
so proud of you.
Well,
Back to
plant the
crypto.
seeds, man. Plant the crypto seeds. The knowledge of this technology, what's going on in this financial sector. You can bring up historical changes in technology to kind of get their mindset around it. Compare this to the technological renaissance. This is just an advancement in technology.
Hold on. Sorry, I'm derailing. Is that really a Harriet Tubman quote? Because
I
that
don't
is...
know.
Well, that quote aside is phenomenal. I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves.
I don't know if that's real, but that's a
That's
good
a
quote.
phenomenal quote.
That's a great quote. And you have to say, but again, you're planting seeds, like you can just bring them facts. Like, let's show if they're talking about, I can't afford a house. Things have just gotten out of hand. I can't reach this obtainable goal that I was saving for 10 years.
In the words of
years.
Yoda, and that is why you fail.
Oh,
you don't believe, of course you're going to fail.
Don't turn into Yoda on it. Be nice.
No, it's relevant.
All right. Well,
Must believe.
You'll get more ants if you use sugar than salt. That's all I'm saying. Wall Street Silver came out with this. Everything is fine. Also, the average 30-year mortgage rate hit 7.39% this week, the highest in 23 years. Now, keep in mind where house prices have gone in that same time frame, exponentially. U.S. mortgage purchase applications fell 9.5% over the past 5 weeks. This is just a quick graph of that occurrence right here. So basically, not many applications for new homes, a lot of increase in applications being denied, kind of credit restrictions closing in. Money's a little bit harder to borrow right now. So this on top of, the current market, people that are in homes right now that they purchased, in the 2020 kind of super low, like 2%, 2.5% interest rate level, they're not selling into this market right now. So, there's going to have to be an increase in inventory. But in my opinion, over the next 3 or 4 years, we are going to see the Federal Reserve pull back their quantitative tightening that we've seen over this year. I mean, this is the fastest velocity of rate increases that the Federal Reserve has ever done in the history of its existence. So they're going to have to pull off the foot on the neck right now that's currently putting the banks of smaller and more regional sized banks at risk because they can't afford the interest. They have securities that are underwater. There's a whole smorgasbord of problems that play into their need to continue to inject quantitative easing. So in the simplest of forms of my explanation for that, and then affordable homes for first-time buyers have basically disappeared from U.S. real estate market per Bloomberg. This is
Define
just
affordable, because this feels kind of funny.
well, affordable. The average price I think is like $350K, and
even with a mortgage.
well, here let's contrast with this because this
$2,000 a month. Less than rent in Atlanta.
Yeah, this is exactly what you're talking about.
Like a lot of these charts actually seem kind of falsified. I'm not saying they are.
Pull my face down, Owen. Pay attention.
But it's also, well, that's my face first off.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's also a lot of this data is back, a few months? Because I've been looking at a lot of this because I'm in the process of trying to buy
graph
something.
Was very recent. This is only 5 weeks.
Okay.
So this is just a very, just a close glance. And then this one's more backed up. So this is from 1970, right? And so this is the cost of buying versus renting. And renting is the green line. And then buying is the yellow line.
Mm-hmm.
And so buying had really, really great entry points for mortgages. Thus, you end up with, houses that if you were renting them, they'd be $2,000. But if you own them, it's like $900, $1,000. If you're financing something like that in this range, right? Now, those same houses at this interest rate has increased the overall cost of buying those same size homes with same cost homes exponentially. So you go from a $2,000 mortgage to a $3,500 mortgage or $3,300 mortgage roughly. If you're comparing off of, what was $1,000 mortgage.
But even here in BFE, $1,800 a month is getting you a 1-bedroom apartment. Like, I feel like the cost benefit isn't really truly shown with this chart.
It's very dependent on the region, right? Like, because you're talking about Atlanta.
Well, I'm even saying up here, which is not Atlanta, which in my opinion is not a very desirable area. Like, $1,800 gets you a 1-bedroom versus that $2,700 a month gets you a house.
Yeah, I mean
that multiple people can be paying on.
And think about this. So I've always thought about mortgage as at least the money is slightly still there for me. Even if the house loses half its value, you're not just throwing the money into the wind to burn.
Yeah, I hate paying rent because it's just setting my money on fire, especially because my rent.
I thought you set your friends on fire.
Well, I like that. I like that band too. Shout out to Ismfoff. But
Hell
no,
yeah.
seriously, it sucks paying rent because you're just burning your money. You could be putting it towards something that you will eventually have value. Like, obviously, that's the trade-off. But it's for some people, that big giant down payment is hard to get to. Or for me, I just rented because I wanted to learn the area. Before
you were just
I
coming here.
I came. I showed up here in a motorhome. To figure out. I wanted to find something close to work. I live 5 miles down the street. My exact address is 7. Oh, just kidding, but I'm not about to buy a house when I just showed up somewhere. But it's still every month. It's just damn, we're literally giving away a mortgage payment every month. It sucks. It totally sucks.
And I totally This is actually something I can riff on really well because I was in that situation. People were talking to me. I owned a home in Colorado. We got the job here. So I was coming out to Georgia, right, for the job. And basically everybody in my inner circle and outer circle was trying to convince me to rent for 6 months to get a feel for the land. And I mean, okay, it's reasonable. But guess what I did? I spent 2 months ahead of time just driving around digitally on Google Maps so I could see what trees were around digitally, literally with Google. And I kind of obsessed about it. And I got a decent feel that actually ended up being pretty close to the feel that I got digitally. And I didn't even see the house that I purchased. I didn't go see it physically. I purchased it completely online and just showed up to a house I was already purchased. And it was a really risky feeling to do. Yeah, there's some things that could have been better about it. Yes, I had to dump a ton of money into gutting the thing and really getting it up to speed, and up to code. It was built a long time ago. I bought a little house with a lot of land, but because I sold a big house with no land, and it drove me nuts. And I was surrounded by people that were trying to deem gardening illegal, and but murdering babies wasn't. So there's that.
There's that.
Can I have something to say on the owning versus renting? I'll play devil's advocate a little bit here. I totally get the renting is pissing away your money. Totally get that. Makes complete sense. But I will say, I feel like renting versus owning anything, whether you're leasing a car, buying a car, renting a house, or buying a house, I think it's more situational than people realize. I think everybody just says it's a waste of money to rent, and I would 100% take the opposite stance. And it has everything to do with, I talked to my premium Discord about this, it has everything to do with something called the time value of money. And here's the thing, right? Everyone's in a different situation. So for somebody, right, let's say someone for my position right now, if I were looking to buy a house right now, and again, it depends on everyone's financial situation and all that, right? It's specific to the individual. Let's say, for example, a car. So I lease one of my cars right now. And the reason I chose not to buy that car, because I bought this car about a year ago, right? When used cars were skyrocketing, the cost of lease, everything.
I remember that when you bought that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Absolutely brutal. So they wanted, if you wanted to buy a used car, which is typically the best way or the most cost efficient way to do it, it was just out of control. They were up 70%. Used cars were up crazy. And so the reason I rented was hey, we're in the middle of a bear market, and I'm not going to overpay and put whatever, 10 grand, 15, whatever the amount of money for the down payment would be. Take that money, that lump sum of money, put it into an to overpay for a car when you could take that $10,000 and buy something in the bottom of the bear market that over time will be worth much more than you're depreciating. Literally, the worst investment you can ever buy on earth is a car. And obviously, it's kind of
Depends on the car.
between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, it's amazing when you're like your wiggle room. Like for your capital, you could put into an appreciating asset or definitely put into a depreciating asset, especially in a bear asset. What are you going to do in a bear market? I 100% feel you on that.
And it's all sorry to cut you off.
No,
it's
fine.
totally situational, right? Like if used car prices were not skyrocketed at the time, maybe I would have put a down payment in, but I just look at that $10,000 and you have to think like in X amount of time, in 3 years, what if I take this $10,000, put it into this used car, what is this $10,000 going to be worth in 3 years? If I put it into whatever, Algorand, XRP, whatever. What is it going to be worth in 3 years?
Kidding.
Sure, there's risk, right? But I always tell people, like, I just think that, like, especially when it comes to cars, people are like, if you lease a car, it's ridiculous. It's like, pointless and it's a complete waste of money. That's not necessarily the case, depending on the person's situation. Sometimes, and a lot of times, buying makes more sense. But I think leasing gets more hate than
on the note. Like, would you made the same choice if you had 4 kids?
Right, exactly. That would change the whole thing. That would change the whole thing. Do you already own a home? Do you
right now, I think that they're high. The interest rates are high, but they're gonna have to come down. In this chart, pull up this chart just one more time. I just want to make a note what I'm saying.
But when they come down, the inventory will probably go down as well.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why I'm pondering doing it soon-ish.
Yeah.
However, I do want to wait because if I want to refinance and I buy right now, Atlanta's not so much of an area of an issue there. But if you end up with negative equity, have fun refinancing. I feel like that's what a lot of people have done. Certain places in the country are down well over 40%. Atlanta's only down like 2 or 3%.
Georgia's holding good.
It's holding well.
Georgia's holding good.
And then besides the home crash that happened around 2008, the last big one was in the 80s, which was roughly around 6%. And we're sitting around 4% right now. So I'm not sure how much more it's going to dunk down.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
This thing, in my opinion, this is going to correct. I think we're going to come back down, and it also matters much less if you are buying outright, right? The point that I try to emphasize to people from my perspective is try to kill your debt. Get out of debt if you have the chance, unless you're using debt to
spend dollars that are worth more money now versus, because that's the whole argument. Like, people say don't take on debt. It's like, well, if my dollar has more buying power now, isn't it better to lock that in?
That's fair.
And then spend money that's worth less money down the road?
Yeah, I mean,
once you're locked in.
Well, I look at it like if you don't have a mortgage, then you have more expendable income. Like, that opens up your income. If you're not paying mortgage or rent, then you have money to invest more or to start a business or things like that. And really, for my situation, I got a bunch of kids. I need to make houses, or I need to have land and houses for all the kids. That's essentially the overall goal. So,
I don't know, like with debt, like I kind of have like an apocalyptic situation where all my credit cards are mad maxed. And basically I do that. You like that joke? You like that joke? Not bad, not bad. And
awesome.
And I do that because, one, if you pay it off, it doesn't hurt you as long as you pay it off on time. And like with a lot of the reward systems and stuff, like what I'll do, like especially with my Apple card, I'll let that build up, like the Apple Cash I get back, and in like 5 or 6 months, I have like $1,000 on that thing, and I can put that $1,000 towards it. So if I was to just use my normal savings account, I wouldn't get any percentage back for the money I'm spending. I'm building my credit score because I'm paying things off on time. I'm not paying interest because I'm paying things off on time. And you get rewards back for money you would have spent anyway. So there's definitely like a fine line between like being in debt and it's a bad thing, or using debt to your advantage.
Absolutely.
And then when you like, I have a credit limit like that, you can buy, Burberry sunglasses, and it doesn't matter because you're just like, yeah, I'll pay it off in a couple months. Big deal.
a great take.
You know what I
And
mean?
Speaking
You have to use it to your
paying things
advantage.
off.
That's all I'm saying.
Speaking of paying things off, check this out. President Biden family
Or you mean
received
getting paid
over
off?
$20 million from foreign sources. House Oversight Committee has confirmed this
Allegedly,
morning,
but proven.
but confirmed by House Oversight Committee. So that's fantastic. And, definitely he is beholden to his debtors right there. So we're probably seeing some of the chaotic decisions out of our White House because of these payoff connections that wonderful Uncle Joe has paved the way for over his 54 years in the government. Also, Dianne Feinstein is.
Also, pay attention. His earlobes are connected.
Is he wearing? Is it a mask? A lot of people think
the
it's a mask.
earlobe thing is definitely weird,
insane.
man.
Disconnected and then connected, then disconnected, then connected.
It's super weird.
There's
Listen, I'm not a
videos,
huge
like,
conspiracy guy, but the pictures are weird.
Yeah.
They are.
They're very odd.
I don't have an answer or a decision, but it is interesting.
So we got some Cardano news. Well, I got this tweet that you shared, BJ, about Cardano. I want to start looking at some of the coins that I've been eyeballing. I know.
CryptoNeck, it is NES pool, by the way.
Oh, yeah, your staking pool?
They were asking. But so everybody who claims Cardano or Ethereum or Bitcoin are super centralized and or decentralized, this is actually fantastic. Looking at the last 20 blocks that have been produced on each one. If you actually blow that up for fun, click on it. Ooh, get it. Let's see. Foundry, Ant Pool, Foundry, F2 Pool, Foundry, F2 Pool, Ant Pool, Foundry, Binance, Foundry. Okay. So there seems like a little centralization there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ethereum. If you scroll up a little bit, get it.
You love ETH, right, PJ?
Get it. So Beaver Build, Lido, Beaver Build, Rsync, Lido, Beaver Build, Flash. Okay. There's a lot. There's pattern there. Now let's find the pattern on Cardano. Okay, Titan. Wait,
it seems kind of all over the place.
Are all these pools different?
That's
like it's
a
an
nice
actual
thing to
decentralized system?
Huh. That's interesting.
Whoa.
This is interesting.
Whoa.
Every single of the last 20 blocks was minted by a different pool.
Yeah.
Relevant.
I mean, and I have Ethereum. I don't not believe in proof of stake systems. I just worry about their black bagability if they are centralized.
Well, I'm not supposed to say it, but is it proof of stake? Truly.
I mean, there's a lot at stake there. Yeah, this is looking pretty centralized here. Not much you can make an argument against that. And, again, Cardano is not as heavily used as Ethereum is. It's one of the other layer ones that's pining for its good time in the sun. All it has to do is keep the development going and the lights on and the community engaged and the technology moving forward, and it will be a part of the next bull run. So, I saw some people in chat, Drew needs to buy some Cardano. I did buy some Cardano at the beginning of the year, or rather, it was around the 17K crash. I sold it when it was around 40 cents. Did pretty good. And, now is the time where I'm thinking about a month, maybe a month and a half. If we find good ground to stand on here with Bitcoin in this, between 25 to 28K range and start that walk back on up, I don't think I'm going to wait for my $32,000 Bitcoin target to actually let the wolves out of their cages and go back into the altcoin market. I think I'll probably be deploying somewhere around that 25 mark if it does come, or I'll wait for a long time hanging out at 28K.
Yes, I do need to make videos. I just don't do it. And also,
you do.
Metawalk asks, what's the APY? It's technically an ROS, meaning return on stake. I'll be dead honest, mine's slightly low, but because I have a smaller pool and I only have ever so many delegators in it. So as it grows, that will get higher. But keep in mind that Cardano does work on a 4-year cycle, so that the return on stake will continue to go down. The network average is about 3.18%. One of the biggest mistakes people can make is jumping from pool to pool and basically try to get staking, I guess, hunting, if you will. Things go up and things go down. Like a few epochs ago, mine was below 3%. Then I had one that was up at 6%. It will average out over the year across the network, and that is how that works. So looking at it in a short time scale, not always the greatest. Also, if you look at pools where, like, for example, mine's roughly around 3%, and then you'll see one that's around 5%. Well, that pool's probably been around since staking started, when the return on stake was higher.
So its average is higher.
Unfortunately, it's grabbing an average that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So that is relevant, like when the pool started and things like that. But also, if somebody owns multiple pools, I personally would stay away from it. And help people out that you care about, but also do what you want.
We got to help Jami Atch. He wants to find where to get the basement NFT in our Discord.
A few people have asked that, actually.
Yeah, we got to get on that. We'll make a post in the Discord in the main channel. I'll send out a message to make that happen. Now, on the other side of altcoins.
Also on Swissborg, isn't that centralized?
What's that?
The 4%? That's a legitimate question, by the way. Because that's the thing. You can do that. I'm not going to blame you. But if that's a centralized thing, it's just like Coinbase may give you more, but you're also helping out. Like you're basically going against decentralization, which is completely fine. If that's your ethos, completely fine.
It's fine.
I don't like it, but again, it's your money, it's your life, and I hope you do the best, like genuinely. But I'd like to stay away from centralized things, personally.
Well, AJ,
what's
we
up?
Talk about Algorand.
Hold on, before we get into that, there's one more thing I wanted to say about credit cards that I didn't have a chance to fit in there.
Okay.
Just really fast.
Okay.
So I see a lot of people have credit situations where, you know, they're $4,000 in debt, $4,000 in debt, or something. Say $5,000, whatever, $4,000 in debt. And then I asked, well, what's your credit availability? And they say, oh, like 4,000. I'm like, that's why your credit score is so bad, because you're using 100% of your availability. And so you kind of have to get to a point where, so say you're $4,000 in debt, but your availability is $4,000. Really bad situation. But, you know, go get approved at PayPal, go get approved at Venmo, go get another credit card, go and build your credit availability up to, you know, $15,000, $20,000. And then when you're $4,000 in debt, it's not that bad, because you're using a much smaller ratio of your availability.
Your utilization.
Exactly. So, and when you do that, it's not that big of a deal. And that is something I actually have learned the hard way in the past couple of years. And now, honestly, I'll open up a new credit card whenever I get a chance, or say like with the flying on Delta, if I want to get a cheap flight, I'll just apply for the credit card, open up my availability, and my credits. Yeah, as long exactly your overall credit card usage needs to be below 30%, and then you have way more wiggle room. So it's just like, I disagree with stay away from debt as long as you're using it to your advantage.
No, I have a credit card as a tool, but definitely if you can own a home, I would recommend owning a home.
Oh, 100%. I'm just saying, in like the general credit card situation, a lot of people don't know how to play the game.
Right.
You gotta play the game.
And if you're on the up and come, you have to do it.
Credit card is a weapon.
Oh, I got a metal one too.
And yes, I'm covering this up. Yeah, you can get that one part, but yeah, like you could murk somebody.
Oh,
with
easily.
Well,
all right.
Now
let's move on.
We're going to talk about Algorand.
Somebody get the tissue box.
Yeah. We broke this story months ago, like I said, but Algorand in the news again, not helping its price action, but it might be a good entry point. Who knows? Algorand partners with the Clinton Foundation to combat climate change. Now, that is a scam. Let's see here. Algorand is well-known blockchain. We all know it. Sylvia McHale, you were talking about his early experience in blockchain tech this morning, right, AJ?
Yep.
He's been around for quite a while in the space. He's made a very strong product. Honestly, Algorand works very well. It's just a matter of if it's going to be, really well and widely received and keep its lights on for the next bull market, just the same as a lot of these other layer ones that are pining for their time to shine in the sun. So we got to keep that in mind. The underlying fact about this story is that this is for a specific environmental, basically a motif to be environmentally sustainable. And I believe the location is Africa. Let's dig in here. Partnered up with the Clinton Foundation to help tackle climate change. Not sure how a crypto project would accomplish such a thing. You can't pay your way out of climate changing. We are in a cyclical climate as it is over the past 13 billion years that this earth has existed. So
no.
Climate credits, all that.
The planet is around 4 billion.
You think it's 4?
It's not 13.
Is it 4? I can't remember. But I just know that it's been a cyclical process. It's been a cyclical process, climate change. So I think that's...
Well, the climate changes. And overall macro climates change.
Right.
But yeah, this is a long debate.
But I know. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole.
CO2 levels have been going down, but overall water vapor density has got up significantly, which is a greenhouse gas that it's funny whenever these people talk about it, they talk about CO2 levels and aren't talking about that. Because who doesn't like CO2 levels going down? Plants. And photosynthesizing plants. Then the other thing when they're like, oh, cars, it's like, it's funny when you look at, they take all these temperature readings, look at what they're right next to. Black asphalt of highways.
Yeah.
Pretty much all those readings. So it's like, look, again, I've said this a million times. Whether or not we are affecting this planet negatively is irrelevant we should be innovating regardless, because it is about innovating and basically evolving. Like, we've been using petroleum products for so long. Like, don't we want to try to do something cooler than that?
Yeah.
Like, genuinely. Like,
I think
there's
that
technologies
hydrogen.
out
Don't you think hydrogen's going to be the one?
there. Not super versed on it.
No?
I'm aware of it. I know that Toyota is doing some cool processes where they're basically taking cow manure and then basically getting methane from it, and then basically deprotonating and popping off the hydrogens and making diatomic hydrogen that can be used for things. Plus, that whole process creates a lot of electricity and everything else. So, I mean, it seems pretty cool. But yeah, it's funny that these people continue not to talk about one of the main greenhouse gases, which is, again, having a lot more atmospheric H2O or dihydrogen monoxide, which like, Atlanta's really hot because of humidity. Like, that is relevant. And I'm not saying that's the answer, but it's just like they keep talking about the same exact thing over and over again. That is maybe a piece, but it's not the entire thing. So
yeah, I
also
want to try the Toyota
one.
ones. I like the idea of hydrogen. My dad has been really big on it his whole life, and I'm also a Toyota maxi. So they decided to, for the confluence of the universe, we spoke it into existence, and Toyota's the one that's actually rolling out the hydrogen attempt. And, you know, I have a good hope for that one. You know, there's, if we're in crypto and we're trying to, you know, advance the way that money moves, we're trying to advance the way that transparency works in the public sphere, on the digital public sphere, you have to be open for advancements in other sectors of technology as well. Right. Now, you have to also be, you know, honest with yourself and people around you on if the specific thing that you're doing right now is actually the right thing. Everyone acts like solar and wind is going to save the world. I worked at a power plant. It provides 5% of the overall power, if it's running, if it's sunny, or if it's windy, right? A lot of power is lost in the transmission of those systems, regardless, that they don't tell about, because it's embarrassing.
Like, I like a lot of the wake systems that they put in the ocean.
Yeah.
Like, basically, it's just a buoy that goes back and forth. Now, the question is it like damming a river where you're going to mess things up? It's like, do you do that and then you make massive coastal erosion?
Right.
Like,
or what effects would it have on the actual ocean itself? Those are things we don't know. And it would take a lot of oil and grease for those little arms to move like that consistently through all that water.
Debatably.
Yeah, true. Were you saying that there's like an alarming amount of like wind turbines, like the energy that they produce, like that gets lost?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the transmission of wind energy is like it loses about 70% of the energy.
Yeah, because they're using one of the worst designs for a windmill. Like, so you remember the pinwheels that you used to play with as a kid? Watch one of those spin.
Yeah.
Now look at basically remember the old school lawnmowers where it's just the blades that were conical? Take that and turn it vertically. That's an extremely efficient wind turbine. Yeah. But yet that's not the one we're using. We're using the shitty one. That takes up way more space.
We got something cool going on in Georgia. They did open up the first nuclear plant in a long time in America here in Georgia recently. Don't have the story up, but I know that it's happening. Georgia's actually opening up their arms to nuclear power, which is good to see. Another thing, just super long down the line, we talk about decentralized finance and all these things that could be more transparent. Imagine if, you know, it is theoretical, obviously, but imagine a decentralized power grid where people have their own power systems that are, you know, insular to your own home. If you have small energy requirements, then you can tailor that input and output.
You'd also get rid of all the maintenance on all the power lines. Right. All the power going out, you no longer have to deal with that. All the hazards from all of that.
Out here in Georgia,
squirrels are going to be pissed because they don't have their highways anymore.
Well, that's true.
But like,
that's true.
Come on.
Those squirrels love them. Out here in Georgia, I mean, you have power lines right next to huge trees, right? I had literally overnight, I had 3 trees fall on a power line right in front of my house. Had city workers out there, and really the city owns those lines and the utility marks because they constantly have to go there and service them. And we've been spitting on blue collar jobs for decades now, so there's not an abundance of people that are out there doing the work physically on the transmission lines or in the construction sites. Like the average age of a construction worker is in between 45 years old to 51 years old.
Wild.
So there's a lot of old, angry men that are not being replaced by young, spunky men. And the society will crumble if you do not pick up the hammer at a point.
Dude, we're too busy making YouTube channels.
But
we're killing it.
We're
killing it.
I do both. I did my floor work last night. What you got?
All right, I just kind of wanted to chime in on the overall Algorand conversation. I know climate change, it's whole other kit and caboodle here, but I kind of wanted to zone in on like the issue with the Algorand. First of all, this Algorand story is old news. This came back.
Yeah.
This came back. I don't know the reason why this resurfaced, but a lot of other influencers, other people that I even know and respect, just had like a really like disgusting knee-jerk reaction to the Clintons teaming with Algorand. And it's like there's like just like Crypto Lifer is just like, oh, I'm selling all my Algorand, like this for them teaming up with that scum and blah 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 blah. And like for a guy that tells his community to not trade with emotion, nailed it, bro. You nailed it. So basically, like my reaction to this, I made a Twitter thread on this. Like, do I have time to read this, Drew? Or
yeah.
Okay, so basically, this is more of like a philosophical edge on this because a lot of people like want to have it both ways. And so this is how I decided to break this down. And I never do Twitter threads. This is like the first one I ever did. So basically, it says the truth behind Clinton's involvement with Algorand. First off, let's point out the obvious. It's not the best for optics. Most people in crypto despise the Clintons. But there's a catch. This deserves a thread. All right. So I'm willing to have an open conversation. Regardless of your political stance, at least the partnership is for a good cause. Nothing can change the reason why I'm bullish. Silvio is the godfather of crypto. Without him, we wouldn't have zero knowledge proofs or
cryptography, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah, that's what I meant. Obviously, I didn't have enough letters to type cryptography.
You're good.
He's the godfather of crypto. Without him, we wouldn't have zero knowledge proofs, BRFs. He's the GOAT. He also behind probabilistic functions. I mean, this guy, he has a Turing Award for crying out loud. So then I said, if you want to involve politics, where do you draw the line in the sand? With that said, the right wingers are generally the ones that detest cancel culture, but is it a two-way street? If a murderer saves 100,000 people from starvation, does this resolve him from his sins? And then I have an emoji of like a cake eat too. Like you can't have your cake and eat it too. And then it's complicated and it's not a yes or no. It comes down to everyone's personal understanding of the tides of culture, which is why the line in the sand keeps moving. Countless people can't help themselves from pointing out a crossed line that washed away years ago. In my humble opinion, a major flaw in the human condition is the inability to live in the gray. The truth is almost never a black and white answer. With that in mind, one partnership doesn't stain the monumental achievements that Silvio and the Algo team have accomplished. I don't even know why this story came back up. It's old news. I publicly avoided it for the most part, but I'm done walking on eggshells, and it's time to deliver an important message, and I implore you to make an effort to understand it. Eminem has been dissing right-wing politicians for 20 years, but he's still my favorite rapper. Chris D'Elia did awful things, but he's still a funny comedian. Frank Underwood is still my president.
Underwood?
Live in the gray, or crypto will become a house of cards. Hashtag Algo fam.
Who in the hell is Frank Underwood?
From House of Cards, Kevin Spacey.
Oh, God.
It's a hell of a reference, but it's a deep grab reference, but anyone that got it liked it. But it's a book. It's a book.
Look at this.
And I had a lot to say, but I'm not defending the Clintons. This is me. I don't know why we're here right now.
This is me and BJ running away from the Clintons.
You must learn.
We dissent.
Okay. I'm just saying I'm not defending the Clintons. I'm just saying to suggest you should just run away from one project because of one partnership that's actually for a good thing. It doesn't it doesn't mean that they're the devil. Like, just to make that leap in logic it's just a big logical fallacy. And I'm not bullish on the Clintons at all, but I'm just willing to look past one little thing because I respect Algorand because of Silvio, and that's really my point.
So double think. I'm kidding. No, I think everything you said was very good.
Yeah. I mean, that's well put. And the truth is always somewhere in the middle. And a partnership can mean one of many things. Maybe they, rent out mops to him. This looks like it's just an eco scam that'll probably die out in the wind, just like Al
probably
Gore's
won't
career.
even matter. Or if anything, it'll help because if the Clintons know how to do anything, they know how to get funding.
Well, that's true. That is very true.
Bars.
That
I
is
hope
true.
the Clinton money is my extra liquidity.
So is Algo going to be like the one that just like shocks everyone? Because it's at the lowest point still. It's still at 11 cents. Move my ugly. Here we go.
Time takes time.
I know. I mean, if you moved into this thing and it at these levels and it got back up to even just retest, what was that? $2.
I mean, if somebody like me is going to show Cardano at 30 cents of 10xing, this is what, 11 cents back up to 3. That's more than a 10x.
Yeah, that's a huge move. That's my point. As if this thing even keeps the lights on.
My average Algorand buy. First of all, I sold a lot at 40 cents, and I bought the original dip and then sold again when it went back to 30. The majority of my Algorand bag was bought just over 10 cents.
Yeah.
I played the get in, get out game pretty good with this one. So when people are like, how's Algorand going? I'm like, it's going good. I didn't get wrecked. Like, it's one thing to buy it at $1 and ride it the whole way down, but that's not what I did. So,
yeah, I mean, this is one that I'm not discounted. I mean, this is one of 5 cryptos that, have been cooked into the World Economic Forum's mind's eye for quite a few times. It was the original paperwork when they were putting out this documents to the public about kind of crypto knowledge and, education. It was basically Solana. Surprisingly, it was Algorand, it was XLM, it was XRP, and it was Cardano. So those are the 5 cryptos that were cooked into the WEF paperwork all the way back in 2017. Keep that in mind. As they say, all of this crypto stuff is just for fraudsters and thugs and robbers, all that stuff. They're going to try to FUD it in the public square while they're accumulating in the background, in the back rooms, through companies on the regular stock exchange while they can and while they're waiting for this ETF to be approved. Yes, I do believe the ETF is going to probably be delayed and take a little bit of time. We're going to get a little bit of delay and probably the markets are going to pull back a little bit. We're going to get a little less excited. We're going to have to keep holding on until we get into the 2024 timeframe to really feel the good stuff coming our way. So
I just want to feel again.
That's right, baby. Oh, yeah. And then before we go, I know this is a long show. I'm going out of town to play with my band, Flood of Souls. These are our albums right here.
Too much metal for one hand.
Too much metal, bro. We're getting after it. I'm pretty excited about it. Having been back there and done that stuff. I am a heavy metal singer, for those that don't know. It's what I did for about 12 years before I came out here to Georgia. It's what I know the best. So also make sure to go to hitmerch.com and pull up. I don't have it on my screen here on yet, but we have the Druth shirts still available. We got a couple left. Moving pretty good, honestly. Appreciate all the support on the channel, us rolling this out. Obviously, I'm wearing the Frankie candles.
Let's go. I was just going to say, decked out in the gear, bro.
I know.
I need some Druth shirts. I got to rock the Druth shirts.
Yeah,
dude, the Frankie candles
I got to grab some.
What weeb made that shirt? Because it reminds me of Cowboy Bebop every single time.
Look at this. I love this.
That's not negative, by the way.
Okay, good.
It is. It's a play on some logo, I think.
Yeah. Well, we got competing shirts. This is mine. This is just the first of probably many. I don't know. I really like this dog. He does look like my dog, but I have a cane corso. He's starting to get gigantic. Huge problem if he steps on your foot. So,
How much does he weigh?
130 pounds.
That's a big dog.
He's a big boy. He's like Cujo. My neighbors hate him. I love him. I don't know if he likes me, though. But anyways, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. We kind of ran over a little bit today, but, we had a lot to talk about. AJ had a lot to get off his chest.
I feel a lot better now.
BJ, he had to show what Cardano was doing, and Frankie had to give us a sauce. So there it is. Thank you very much for joining us. Skid Marks, Crypto Totoro, The Laffy Stuff, Cryptos for Tacos, TJ's Chicken Salad, DGen Tolman, Elite Crypto, Manawak. No, you're in there. Yeah, you are.
If they behave, I'll do the Barcelona special trick from Barcelona.
Okay.
If you guys behave, I'll do it on Friday.
Behave yourselves, and we'll get a surprise. Well, until next time,
I'm gonna go max out my credit card again later.
Hell yeah.
Max it out. Send it, Owen. Let's go.